Gonna eat while we do it?
Yeah, always. Thank you.
We're rolling.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Nerd Guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Nerdbuzzed.
Nerdbuzzed doesn't condone the consumption of alcohol by any persons under the age of 21. Please drink responsibly.
Burst into flames effect.
Yeah.
Welcome to Nerdbuzzed, the podcast where we talk about all the nerdy stuff that we care about and drink a cool frosty brew while we're doing it.
Or eat a bowl of rice that he prepared for me. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hot.
I guess I mostly
Very
did,
good. Yeah.
Other than burning your hand when you put it in the bowl. I like that you just did that and still didn't blow
I want
it.
the
You
audience
didn't
to see
wait
my
or-
pain, okay? See how dedicated I am.
So I'm gonna do my best to drink a beer this episode because I'm a little
You
haggard.
said you're having troubles.
I'm having a little bit of trouble.
Yeah.
I drank a little too much beer the other day.
I don't think
so
anyone's pressuring you to, if I'm going to be honest.
I feel like I have to uphold the Nerdbuzz standard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you?
Okay.
And you don't have anything to drink.
I thought that was my water. Now it's kind of awkward. No. I'll get my own in a second. No, it's all good.
Here we got cheers. With
yeah,
something,
that's a good
so
point.
You can have it. To all the nerds.
For all the fuzz.
Oh my God. Bottoms up.
Let's get Nerdbuzzed. It's been a long day. I got my first overtime today. I'm pretty happy. But it's going to make me a little loopy, so I'm going to do my best to stay in control.
Today was your first overtime.
Yeah. Surprise. Well, no, actually at GameStop, I worked I wasn't allowed to work 40 hours. They kicked me out.
Because you work too much?
Yeah, well, they'd be like, all right, your shift is 4 to 6, and it'd be 4 to 10, every day. I would be like, oh, can I work more? They'd be like, yeah. Or they'd be like, Jack, you need to work more. It was always that on the days that I didn't want to work. I'd be like, I have to leave at this time. I'm like, no, you're not. GameStop isn't a good place to work.
Big fan of GameStop.
Yeah.
All right, well, you were the one that had an idea for a show.
Yeah. I wanted to
I'm
talk
gonna let
about
you run with it.
difficulty in games. So a while ago, a really popular article came out called "Difficulty and Accessibility in Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice," and the guy who wrote it, Justin Wu, basically talked about how Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice isn't accessible for disabled people, but then he also didn't say that accessibility doesn't mean difficulty. It means having more options of gameplay. But at the same time, I mean, he also kind of talks about how gamers saying, oh, I beat this difficult game, or oh, you can't beat this difficult game, blah, 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 is a problem. And in my eyes, and this may just be I'm kind of a cynical guy, it sounds like he's doing a roundabout way of saying, this game's too hard for me, being a little baby. But I mean, he does definitely have points about how there needs to be more accessibility for disabled gamers, but I think a lot of that comes in custom controllers or custom ways of doing inputs, which I think is good. I don't think that's on a developer's. I don't think that has to be a developer's issue. I think that should be more of a console manufacturer or a controller manufacturer, because I think that's where a lot of that comes in. And I think to say that it's if you're accommodating with someone who can't easily use a regular controller, I don't understand how a developer's gonna fix that. Well, and maybe that's not exactly what he's saying. But yeah, I think there's a lot of things that don't really come down to just the developer's plate, and to blame it and to basically blame all this stuff on Sekiro, and then say Sekiro has a bad community because if you don't because you want to, it's too competitive, or I don't really agree with it. But I wanted to talk about the issue of difficulty in games, because this article kind of just made me mad, and it's 1,000.
Well, we should also preface by saying you're a big Sekiro fan.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan.
Right?
I love that
so
game.
You're totally biased.
So, I love this game.
I mean, anybody that hates Sekiro, you have an issue with that.
And it is very hard. I'm not good at it. I haven't beaten the true. There's I guess there's 5 different endings. I think in 4 of them you end up fighting the same final bosses, or the same final boss, and I've not beaten him yet. Very hard. Wow. I haven't beaten the first Dark Souls. I'm close. I'm at Gwent. Right? And the same guy, to be fair, has said the same thing about all the Souls games they come out. I don't really want to get into whether or not I believe this guy, but I do want to get into some topics and just bounce some ideas back and forth.
Yeah.
And try to think as objectively as possible, or the one that you take your opinions out of it, because I think that's important when talking about big issues like this.
About difficulty in games.
Yeah, because it's a very big issue, and I mean, I think it's kind of been an issue for a while, where it's like for a long time you're hearing about games getting easier and easier, and whether or not they need to accommodate to a reviewer who wants to publish the review in like a day. Right, they're like, oh, I get this game, I play it for this many hours or whatever, and this is like, I need to be able to beat it, right? So there's like a lot of
easier for that.
Yeah,
do they really do that?
Yeah.
Weird.
Well, I
didn't
mean,
know that.
okay, if you think about it, like, if you make a game, you want your reviews to get out really quick because you want people to be like, oh, it's getting good reviews, it's set, buy it while it's new, buy it now, good game. And so like I mean, The Witcher has, I'm sure most, if not like all, like IGN or whatever played like on the like baby mode difficulty, because I think for them there's also a pressure of like, I need to beat this game, I need to cover as much of it as possible, I need to get my review out. Like, I mean, there's game publishers that will publish reviews and will be like, I played for 20 hours, and they'll publish a full review. It's like, what? Didn't even beat the game.
I've read that too.
Yeah, like there was one, the person who beat Resident Evil 2 for, I think it was IGN, only played through the game once when it's basically integral. I don't know how, but everyone says you need to play through it twice.
Yeah.
Like, that is the full experience.
Well, to get the like dude story and the chick story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, like you're not completing the game if you only play through it once. And the IGN reviewer was like, yeah, kind of wish there was more. And basically what they described was what the second playthrough was of like what they wanted.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think there's a lot of pressure to do that.
And I think that's a difficulty thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if a game's hard, it's like.
Well, what about like Dark Souls reviews or Sekiro? I mean, they got reviewed. Did the people beat those games? Do you know?
I'm sure they have like resident Souls experts. Honestly, I think there's like has to be people that like there's some of their skills like they can play Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that I really think that difficulty is so personal. Like just the statement that a game is difficult is so it's so personal, right?
I have a
might
friend
be for this guy for person A, but not difficult at all for person B, right?
Yeah.
It's such a relative term.
I have a friend who can like he's beaten Dark Souls from what he said, I think 50 times. He is stupid. I've watched him play that game. It's stupid. He's just like, that's easy. Oh, this guy's parried him 1,000 times. I'm like, how are you doing that?
Yeah.
Like he made it to Blighttown and like.
Because he played it for more than 20 hours.
But at the same time, every other Souls game he goes to, he's like, oh, this is easy. Because he understands how they work, and I think they work really well for him. Where me, I'm like, it takes me a while to get into those games or to like.
That is my biggest complaint about the Souls games is that they're the same game. Like it's the same game again, and then again, and then again. We got it 3 times.
I spilled some rice.
And then even with Bloodborne, it's different. I will give you that.
Bloodborne is,
but it's still the same game.
Yeah, I'll give you a little bit on that. I really like Bloodborne. Honestly, I think it's different enough. I think
they're all great. They are all great games, and I do think the point of them is to be difficult. Like, that is a selling point of those games.
Well, I don't think. I'm going to play it. I think it's not as much difficulty as it has really stringent mechanics. Yeah. And you need to follow those. Like, you need to follow the rules it sets out.
Yeah.
And you need to.
Which I think in the beginning was really like. It was this throwback to like retro gaming where it was like. I mean, you'd either had to memorize your 25-digit code or whatever it was. Or like. Games you just didn't die and then pick right up where you left off. Like you died and started all over.
Yeah, there's a consequence.
Yeah, and that's just how that was the standard of games forever, right? Until finally, I would almost say, open as games got more open world, you started to get more lives in that way.
Yeah, and there's thousands of checkpoints constantly.
Yeah, and
right, or like as they went on.
How it was.
Yeah,
which is what I liked about when I first played Dark Souls. I enjoyed that. There was like. This makes me feel like a kid again, where I'm
very obtuse. They did not tell you anything.
No.
Yeah, I looked online a lot for that game. Or like I watched the video that was kind of funny, and it was like modern Mario, and it's like he like you walk up and some guy's like, all right, soldier, press A to jump, and it's like going through the tutorial, and then he dies, and there's like a checkpoint like right before the jump. He's like, try that again, soldier, and it's just like it's kind of like funny commentary, and it's like life's infinite.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think at the same time, like there's nothing like there can be like good things with that, and I think we'll touch on that more about like what difficulty should mean in games and how difficult games should be.
Yeah.
But I think the difficulty works a lot for like, I guess the world design of Dark Souls, because it's a very hopeless game. So depressing. The whole thing is that anyone can be you. It's just you are the only human that has the willpower to push through the quest. Because everyone dies and they come back. Like, that's why people turn hollow, and that's why, like, when you rest at a bonfire, everyone comes back. But it's like you are literally the only person that has the willpower to push through to the end, which is like a really interesting, like, story idea.
Yeah.
And it works well. But yeah, I mean, those games definitely have like issues, I think. Like, sometimes the checkpoints can kind of be like I think Dark Souls 3 is a good example of just like, sometimes are just a stupid many, like too many checkpoints.
Yeah.
Like you'll literally kill a boss, get a bonfire, and walk like 20 feet and get a bonfire. Which is dumb.
I'm really excited to try Sekiro, and I want it to be different than a Souls game. I don't want it to, I guess, there's a quality level, I think, to Souls games, at least in the beginning. I think it's been saturated.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just, it's not what it originally was.
Yeah.
But I would like to try Sekiro and see if it's at least a bigger leap than, like, Bloodborne.
It definitely is. It is, quick review of Sekiro. It's sick. I love it. It is the most aggressive Souls game by far. Like, everyone's like, Bloodborne's really aggressive. Sekiro, you, like, 99% of the time you're not dodging. You can jump over attacks. You're not usually jumping over many. You're either dodging, like, straight into a lot of attacks, or you're deflecting. Like, you're constantly, like, any time an enemy attacks you, you don't dodge. Because you deflect, and there's, like, a lot of, like, things that reward you for deflecting. Like, you can kill your enemy faster if you, like, do perfect parries of their attacks. So it forces you to get in. And it's kind of cool, because in Bloodborne, there's enemies that'll just attack for like 20 seconds straight, and they'll follow you. Like, you are not dodging some of those hits. And it's kind of stupid. Or like in Dark Souls 3, when you have a slow movement speed. Like, this is one boss that'll shoot like 1,000 soul arrows at you, and then it'll be above you, and it'll teleport around, and it's like, what? But in Sekiro, when a boss goes to attack you 100 times in a row, you can use that to your advantage by constantly deflecting them. And that, like, does it.
It sounds like by, like, playing like your friend that's awesome at Dark Souls games.
Yeah, that's how you feel. Yeah, and like the first time you beat it, you feel like so. Like, you go back to the beginning, and you're just like, oh my god, this is easy. But then you get your butt kicked by certain bosses again, and there's still like more mechanics to learn, and it feels like.
Does Sekiro have difficulty levels?
It has the normal one, and you can actually make it harder.
Like, so you can put it on hard?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you can do it, like, there's two different ways. There's one where it's at the beginning of the game, you can get an item that basically means if you don't do perfect deflections, like, you don't get the ding, you take damage. Like, little tiny bits of damage. But it's still, like, it adds up. And then there's another, like...
So you can, like, put these items on you that'll, like...
Yeah. There's a bell you can ring that just makes everything harder.
Huh.
Yeah. And you can find it pretty quickly.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's an interesting way to do it.
Yeah, difficult or more difficult.
It's like it has to be a conscious choice to put these items on.
Yeah, it's like FromSoft predicted it. But I'm wondering, so like, what do you think that Dark Souls is too difficult, or does it have aspects that are like too difficult? Or do you like the way it's balanced?
I think any complaint I have about Dark Souls, I don't think difficulty is one of them.
Yeah.
I think difficulty is it's like it's, for me, it's like it's endearing quality. I like that about it. I like that you feel rewarded when you fought a guy how many times, and you finally get his combos down, and you do parries, and like your timing's right, and it's like it really rides that line of like sometimes so difficult that you want to like break a controller, which is also like old school video games, right? But at the same time, it's not impossible, right? So you will do it eventually once you kind of figure out the pattern of it all. So I enjoy that element of it. For me, if Dark Souls wasn't as difficult as it was, I never would have been a fan right out of the gate with Demon's Souls. Like, that was the thing that struck me as really appealing. When I first died in it and had lost everything, basically, I was just like, wow.
You're like, wow, that's soul-crushing.
It is soul-crushing.
Well, I mean, I guess literally, you lose your souls.
Yeah, well, but at the same time, it was, like, exhilarating. It reminded me of playing those old school games. Because that's how it always was. Whenever you played a game with a buddy, like whenever I was staying the night at a friend's house or something, when we were playing on like NES or even Super NES, when you played the game the next time you stayed over there, you started at the beginning. You didn't like load up your save file. You started at World 1, Level 1, and you just started there together and played it. Whether it was Mario or Sonic or what, like all those just old cheesy games, but you always started there. You never saved your codes. So I really enjoyed that about Dark Souls. I think I have far more complaints about other things than I do difficulty.
I think a lot of talk about it, like about difficulty in games and Dark Souls, is like I think one aspect I really enjoy is that, like, when you get to a hard boss and you like look up on the internet, like, is this boss hard? And you see all these people like, oh god, it's so hard, but when you beat it, it's gonna be good. Or like all these people that are going through the same thing, and you're like, no, I gotta beat it. I gotta beat it for that guy.
Yeah.
Right? And then you beat it, and you're like, yeah. And then you go and you see all these forums of people like, I finally beat this boss. And you're like, oh, I did too. I think like that's kind of nice. But I feel like a lot of people get like really, really bothered by the whole like get good, which is like, I guess it originated from Dark Souls. I mean, I'm sure people said it before, but it's like a really popular Dark Souls phrase. Like,
well, I even think like Mega Man. Like, I think Mega Man is one of those classic games that people that beats you over the head.
They just say get good.
Yeah, and
that's all they have.
The answer too is that you just get good. You play it a billion times.
Yeah.
And again, because games didn't come out, there wasn't 5 games every single week, right? So you had that one game for whatever 6 months until like your birthday or Christmas. We're gonna make this hard for you. So it's like, so it didn't matter that it was that hard because that was the one game you were gonna play over and over and over and over and just be badass at it.
And
even the arcade game, like when arcades existed, that was the mentality because you want to put quarters in.
Yeah.
Right. It's like find that line where it engages the player and it's loads of fun. But it's really difficult, and they're going to die a lot. Like, so it's addicting, right? So you can put that quarter in, but that's totally the arcade game mentality.
Yeah, and I wonder if like in my opinion, I don't really get bothered by that. Like, there's times when you don't want to hear that, like someone like, oh, you suck at this, or you're like, shut up, right?
Yeah.
But I think at the same time, there's like, to judge a game based on how its community talks about it, I think is kind of unfair. But also judging the community as bad because they say get good, but at the same time, it's like usually there's like difficult tasks.
Like specifically talking about difficulty.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's like I don't think it's fair to judge Dark Souls on that, or like judge the community as bad because people are like, well, just get better at the game.
Well, I do think though to be devil's advocate on the other end of that, if you're the guy that doesn't want to play a super difficult game and just wants to fart around in a game and have fun, which is great. I have games I do that with.
Like Far Cry.
Then it's funny. We were saying before this that because you worked up about Sekiro in this article and like it's such a different game. I've been such a bad snobby gamer lately, and I've done the thing that I've always bitched about, which is the 2 games I've played the most lately are Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Far Cry 5. And
disappointed,
right? They're both Ubisoft games, right? Which is like it's almost as bad as BVS around here. We don't say that, but. But the reason why they're so fun is there is an element of difficulty to them, and you can figure out the pattern to it. But it's cheesy fun. Like it's just cheesy fun.
Yeah.
It's easy to just power through things. You feel really just badass and strong through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like that's the point of it, right? If those games, if they were super difficult, like if they were like Dark Souls difficult level, I think they would lose that appeal for me.
Yeah, because in a sandbox game,
that cliche cheesiness.
You're like, what if I fly into that rock wall? What happens? Oh, cool, I die. Like a game with a lot of open mechanics like that, I think benefits from having like a lot more checkpoints and like making it easier. Like I think there are definitely games where it's like, and this is what I kind of wanted to get into. That like there are definitely games that benefit from a difficulty. Like a higher difficulty and ones that benefit from a lower one. Like I think Dark Souls benefits from a higher one because it's like it makes the world more mysterious. It adds to the story and everything. But a game like,
could you imagine playing Dark Souls if you didn't die and lose your souls and that like that wasn't your motivation to be skillful to like get back and save him again?
Yeah, you wouldn't care.
Just run
You'd
through
get
and
so bored.
and do whatever. It'd be boring.
Yeah,
that game would not be the game it is, and it would suck. Nobody would love it. It would be terrible.
Exactly. But if you played like Just Cause, where it's like. If you're if like realistic explosions, like if you're in 20 feet of that thing, you go deaf and you die, or like you just like your bones shatter. It's like that's not fun. I played Just Cause because I want to drag an oil tanker into a plane.
Yeah.
Right? I want to do something stupid. Yeah. Right? And I want to be like, what happens if my guy does that? He dies? Sick. Reload it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think there's benefits to either way, but I think you just have to know, like I think the developers are conscious of that. And to just say, game's hard, it sucks. It's like, it's not looking at the design and why they might be doing that.
Yeah.
I think, it benefits Dark Souls is designed to be difficult, and it benefits...
Well, I think it's such a key element of its design. It's what made the game stand out, right? Was its difficulty.
Exactly.
Another game I've been playing a lot lately is Cuphead. And the reason why I love Cuphead is because it beats you over the head. Like, I've just been playing it on whatever the standard... It gives you the 2 options.
Yeah.
You go to, and I just picked the more difficult one of whatever the 2 are. It doesn't say hard. I don't know if you, like, unlock that by the end or whatever. I'm not all the way through.
Oh, my God.
But it is such a game of memorizing enemy patterns, right?
Yeah.
And just figuring out how to get in there and get every little shot off. And you die so many times on each one. But when you nail it, it feels so good. And you could now go back and do it so much quicker. You just nailed all this pattern of the guy. And a lot of times, the next boss you'll implement some of those things, right? Like you start to use some of the moves from all the other bosses.
Yeah.
You totally learn as you play it, which is a lot. It feels rewarding.
And it's a very simple game. So if Cuphead was easy and you just shot everything, you're like, this sucks.
Yeah.
I'm bored.
I couldn't see the point of playing it on the easy mode.
Yeah.
Like
because
it just
killing the guys really
especially,
fast.
Because it's a handheld, right? Like I can pick it up. I can try the level. I've been doing this when we go to like trivia at the pub.
Do it while everyone's answering the questions?
No, I do. I'll go there early and get like a pre-trivia beer.
Yeah.
And I'll sit down for like a half hour and play Cuphead.
Yeah.
Right? Is usually what I'll bring with me, or I'll read a comic or something. But Cuphead's awesome for that type of thing, where you can pick it up. I'm just gonna keep beating this boss over the head every time I play it until I figure it out. And for me personally, I find that really rewarding. Like my wife, no way. I don't think she would find that game enjoyable at all. She would get sick of just dying over and over and over and over, and she'd lose her motivation.
Yeah, and I think it's not fair to say that like you're not a gamer if you don't like a hard game or this game, because it's just like I don't want to play. I mean, Persona, I don't think I would really be into, especially like I'm so bad at. I didn't grow up with a lot of like turn-based strategy games or turn-based games. Like my dad played a lot of them, but I never did, and I'm not good at them. I just don't like them personally. And if I played a game with a core like combat design that I don't like and it's hard, I'd blow my brains out. I would not like that. I'd be very unhappy.
Yeah,
and it's okay, but it's like okay to feel that way. So if you don't like Dark Souls, it's okay. I mean, you suck, but no, it's like okay. Or if you don't like playing a difficult game, it's okay, but it's also not fair to like discredit other people for saying that they do like it.
Yeah, well, and again,
they enjoy that difficulty.
Yeah, well, and I mean,
the mastery of the mechanics.
When we started out, I think even just to say that a game is difficult is so subjective. It just is.
Yeah.
Right. Like you can't. It's not gonna be a true statement for everybody. It isn't. Some people, it's going to be difficult isn't a strong enough word. Right?
Yeah.
Some people, difficult, perfect. That's exactly what I would call that. Some people, it's not difficult at all.
Yeah.
So like I understand having an opinion on the difficulty of a game, but I think you have to remember that it's just that, right?
Yeah.
Like it's your opinion of what difficult is, and that's going to vary across the board. I think that's why some games that offer varying degrees of difficulty, okay, like I'm fine with that. Like if somebody wanted to play through Dark Souls on that easy whatever mode,
yeah,
I don't care if you want to put that in there, like that's fine, but I'm not going to play that way. Like it would ruin the game for me.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would care a whole bunch if they did that, or even like with Cuphead, if there's just one where you just want to watch all the pretty levels and like it's all hand done, and so it's like it's really cool to look at. Okay. It seems like you're missing the purpose of it, but I think that video games have expanded so much into it's not just hardcore gamers anymore.
Yeah.
Right? Like you have so many casual players, and I think the industry is heavily relying on those people.
Yeah.
And they got to be, I mean, I would say pushing half of the people out there that are getting games are probably more of a casual gamer. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
It's got to be at least 40% of them.
Well, I mean, how many people
big percentage
keep buying the Madden games every year? How many people?
See, for me, those suck, and I don't care what difficulty you put in. I'm just not good at it, right? Like that game, I don't even know if people would say that's a super hard game.
So much. It makes so much money.
And for me, that's harder than Dark Souls. playing a Madden game because I'm not good at it. I just haven't done it. I don't have the. That's where somebody, and you know what somebody would tell me, get good, bro. Like that would be the response, and I'd be like, okay, I don't want to commit the time though, so I'm not going to get that one. If I do, I'll get it in 6 months, but it's $20.
You kind of mentioned multiple difficulties, and I want to talk about that too. I think a lot of problem, like in the discussion about difficulty, a lot of people have been saying like multiple difficulties are almost always stupid, right? Like if I'm playing, I think almost any game, right? Easy to hard is not the only difference. Is just tweaking numbers, tweaking player health, tweaking enemy damage, tweaking enemy health. And a lot of people are like, that's a really lazy and stupid way to do difficulty. I think there should be a different way. And I think that works for some games. But I was thinking about it. And one of the most rewarding games that does like interesting ways, like things with difficulty, is Resogun. I love that game a lot. And like, so on the easy mode, enemies move slow. They don't like they take less hits to kill. I mean, you can only get hit like a couple times and you die, like on any difficulty. So it's like they keep that constant. But as you advance, there are new enemy types. The enemies move faster, and then enemies can like start evolving, and they add all these different mechanics. And by the end, every time you kill an enemy, like bullets come out and like home at you, and you're going like 1,000 feet a second, and you feel like a god. And going back to that easy difficulty, you're like, this is too slow.
Yeah.
Like it makes you feel like really cool as you slowly master the mechanics, right? Because I think they start you off and it's like you can only play an easy, normal, hard, and there's like 2 more after that. Right?
Yeah.
I think that's a really interesting way to do it. And I almost wish more games would do that. Like, I mean, I know it's kind of stupid to say, but like just locking off stuff to be like, when you beat it on this difficulty, replay it and you'll see this. Right?
Yeah.
Like certain games will do like there are secret boss battles on the hardest difficulty, or like secret things to do, or like different enemies or different enemy attacks, or like the enemies can evade you more. Like, I think just doing flat numbers is really lazy, and I feel like that's why a lot of people don't like playing on an easy difficulty, because once you play on the hard difficulty, you literally just see that, like, the only thing that's changed is numbers.
Yeah.
And all that means is, like, you have to get, like, a little more skill, but they don't, like, there's nothing that reinforces the game's mechanics.
I think in that specific scenario that you're talking, the biggest thing that will drive me nuts in a difficulty, like changing the difficulty in a game, will be when it is like a role-playing game, and when you change the difficulty, like, yeah, guys have higher health, and you take less hits, but at the same time you get like less XP for killing the guys, so now it also takes you longer to level up and become awesome.
That's stupid.
That's like a grind fest, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not a fan of that.
Most games usually do the opposite. If you're playing a game that gives you less XP, that's dumb.
Yeah, but when you put it on hard, right, it's like, because they want you to level slower. They don't want you to just like jump up. They want it to be more difficult, right? It's totally.
But that's a stupid way to do it too, because it's just like slowing down progress. Where it's like a skilled player that is like really good at the game is now not going to be held back by like the actual game mechanics, but held back by like some arbitrary boundary that's just like, no, you do this slower. So even if they're like an expert at the game, there's still going to be progress. That's stupid. That's a horrible way to do it.
Yeah, I would agree that I'm not as big of a fan of just tweaking numbers.
Yeah, I think there has to be. So I think if Dark Souls didn't have an easy mode, which I don't really like, I think it's very antithetical to the design. It kind of
breaks the game.
Yeah,
to be honest
but if it did, I think there should be like a more, like a different way to do it. Like just turn the brightness up. Make it like a brighter game. Like change. Like if you just change things,
or give you like a second wind maneuver or something, right?
Take
like
out certain bosses.
You get one more hit. Like it gives you. It's almost like when you change the difficulty in your like GTA missions, right?
Yeah.
The easy missions you get 2 extra lives. The like middle ones you get the 1 respawn, and the last there's no respawn. You have to start the whole thing over. So which would be your just purest Dark Souls, right? But I could see if they want to just let the guy die twice instead of just the once, or whatever, right?
But I think that if developers do that, it shouldn't. I mean, I know obviously I don't make games, so it's really hard to be like, can you just change all these things when you put on easy? That can be kind of unreasonable. But like, if they just tweak it a little bit, so that like it encourages players to like want to play it again on harder difficulties and want to master it, because they'll see like more of the game's mechanics be like reinforced, and you have to like get better at them. I think that's a good solution. So yeah, if Dark Souls is like,
so you'd rather see a game get harder with some sort of actual change to the game, then just dumb it down and make it easier.
Yeah, instead of be like, well, I gotta hit you 1,000 times, you're not gonna die. Or be like, you get hit once, dead. Like, that's stupid. Or like, yeah, like make the enemy AI maybe like react a little better, a little smarter. So you have to play smarter.
Yeah.
So it's like you and the game are constantly catching up, and so you always feel like there's a challenge other than just like the things that you already know how to do with just tweak numbers.
Yeah.
Right. Like in Dishonored. In Dishonored 2 specifically, when you change the difficulty, you can do some crazy stuff. They have a custom difficulty option, which I want to mess around with that because you can change almost anything about the game. Like the way the enemies react to you, how far they can see you, can they see you in the dark, can they do this, can they do that, and you can make it like the most punishing experience ever. Like if you want to grind through that game, I think that's a really awesome option is to have custom difficulty things. Because I think a lot of people like to watch that too. Like a lot of Dark Souls streams are like there's a really popular one where it's like every 30 seconds your weapon gets switched to like something completely random, and it's like some extra interesting challenge. So I think also like if you give like gamers the ability to customize those things, I think it makes it like better for them too. Because it's like I wanna role play as a guy who can like kill everything in one hit, but not be able to do like this is really hard for him, right? Or you could make it the easiest game ever, but you can also like give players the ability to like kind of form it around how they want to do, like how they want to play.
Well, you used to have more like cheat codes and things.
Yeah.
Like
now you
standard
have to
was
pay
like
for
God
those.
mode, right?
Yeah.
And you could go through and do anything.
Yeah.
So, like, while we're talking about all that stuff, is it also fair to just say it's okay to just not like the game? Like the game's just not for you, and maybe the developer didn't want to do those things because that's not the game they envisioned.
Yeah. And
like, why does
totally
the developer need to cater to everybody? I don't like. Who cares, right? Like, let them make the game that they want to make. if it's great and it appeals to people, then that's awesome, and maybe it'll build this like really, really huge following. And maybe they didn't hit it, and it won't, But and I think it's okay if not everybody thinks that a game is phenomenal. Some of the games that I'm a big fan of are just games that do something different, right? That hasn't been done. It doesn't necessarily mean they're the best game in the world, but it's something I haven't played before.
Yeah.
And it's a risk, I think, whenever you get a game like that, it might be that you're just really bad at it, right?
Yeah.
But I find that really appealing, and again, that's why the first Dark Souls was so appealing to me, right? The more they come out with, the less it is, just because I've done it before.
I got to bring over my PlayStation so you can play Sekiro. It's a lot different.
Yeah.
Because you can come back, you can die and you can come back, like, immediately. But there's, like, more of a punishment for death, for, like, when you, like, actually die. And there's also a grappling hook. It's sick.
What difficulty do you play on, usually?
On most games?
Yeah.
Recently hard. Like the hardest they have. Because I feel like, I don't have a lot, like, too much time, but I really value my time that I spend in a game, and I play it on hard because I'm like, I don't want to blast through a game and just have it be a forgettable thing. Like, I want to be like, I love this game because of this. And it also shows me, like, do I like this game? Like, do I want to learn these mechanics and play it the way that it's intended to be played, or play it, right? If I don't, I will know.
Do you think that the developers intended for the game to be played on the most difficult mode, or did they intend it to just kind of be played on normal?
I think developers, like, the one thing that I want, developers watching out there, FromSoft, Miyazaki, look at me. Or I guess it doesn't count for him because he doesn't have difficulties, but, like, I think a lot of games need to be like, this is the intended experience. I think, like, I watched a video on how Halo did that. Like, this is the way it's meant to be played, and then Legendary is like, this is going to be bad. This is not going to be fun.
Yeah.
Or, like, it will, but, like, I think, like, for a story-based game, to be like, here are the highs and lows the hero's supposed to go through. This is where we want. This is how hard we want it to be. Like, playing a game, like, I don't know. Like, I play a lot of God of War games, right? And I remember playing those in the easy modes. Or, like when I play them on the harder modes, I can appreciate the times of struggle or the times of, like, tension, because I'm like, there's a lot more at stake here. Like, it is, like, a lot harder to beat, right? I think having it on hard can kind of put you more in the shoes of the character of being like, this isn't easy. Whereas, like, if I'm playing a game and I just, like, and the character's like, how am I going to beat the bad guy? It's like, you just shoot him once and he's dead. Yeah. I want it to be like, oh, God, I shoot this guy a lot. And I'm rambling on, but I kind of like to be more immersed in the game. But I think there should be an open like dialogue from the people who make the games to be like, hey, this is where it should be. Because it's kind of weird to have this like huge list of things and it's just a bunch of numbers. It's like where the numbers are, like where are they at 1%, like at 1, right? Because it's like 0.75% damage, whatever damage. Like where are those numbers supposed to be?
Yeah.
Where do they start? Yeah.
Well, and I think it has to be, maybe also because of the market is so broad now, right?
Yeah.
It could be hard to hit that demographic. You know, like, you have to appeal to the masses, basically.
Yeah.
Like, right? You can make a game, well, especially if like a Souls game, I think, is a great example, and I think that's partially why they are all so similar, is because that game is about that element of it. It's about the fighting mechanic of it and the risk reward of it, right? So because one, people found that so appealing about it, they can do that again in 2, and they don't have to worry and cater to those other people. They've already got that following, right?
Yeah.
But especially games that come out and don't already have a following, I could see them needing to find ways to make it appeal to everyone.
Yeah.
You know, especially if they're, maybe the publisher is just breathing down their neck and they need it done right now, but it has
There's
to
a
be
lot of factors
success,
in it that
like,
we can talk about, but it's like we don't understand.
Yeah. I mean,
if you work for EA, it's like,
yeah,
they control
it has
the
to
game.
come up with a certain number, right? Or it's just instantly a failure. And I'm sure that number is ridiculous. And to get that number, you have to appeal to the masses.
Yeah.
I was also thinking, just came to me as we were sitting here talking about difficulty. One thing that I can find sometimes in games, I can find the difficulty abrasive when it as it ramps up in the game. Like you'll have like
difficulty
your little base area where you're like learning your moves, like the pre-test, right? And then suddenly you get hit with the final exam like right after that, and you didn't get any chance to like practice. You suddenly have to be awesome at it. It's like, because I played games that have done that before too.
Like what?
I can't think of a particular game right off the top of my head, but you'll like jump in. They'll give you a few enemies to take out or whatever, and you'll like you'll do this mechanic twice. And then suddenly the next stage you have to go through, it's like you're expected to be a master of that mechanic and use it at every turn to get through this level. And I can find the the difficulty spikes in games to be abrasive.
Yeah, difficulty spikes are
suddenly hits.
Yeah, like I remember I swear to God, every God of War game at the very end, right before the final boss, has a stupid moment. I think in the new one it's balanced, because like it ramps you up to that over time. In the new one, it's when you fight the 2 elves at the same time on the elevator thing.
Yeah,
that's the hard moment. But if like I played through literally every God of War except the mobile game before then, and I can tell you that all the other ones have those stupid moments. Like in one, it's not that stupid. It's when you're top of Pandora's temple and there's like the different like conveyor belts going this way, and then all the platforms where the conveyor belts aren't going, and there's not spikes. There's fire that shoots out, and there's 1,000 guys, and it sucks. There's like the second game, it's like you going down that like spiral. In the third game, it's when you fight like just a bunch of stupid enemies. You fight like 2 satyrs. Satyrs are the hardest guys. I think in one it might have been the part where there's like a bunch of satyrs you have to fight in every game. They're so stupid. They're stupid strong.
But then you feel like a God of War once you beat them.
Yeah, I just felt angry.
Well, I think that difficulty in a game,
it's just like nothing to like boom. It's like whoa.
Yeah. Well, I think it is directly dependent on what kind of game it is, right? Like Like again, if we're gonna beat this Dark Souls thing over the head, because again, it's the one that is berated with the issues, right? Or Sekiro or whatever, from software.
Yeah.
But it's like, if the game is all about the mechanics of playing it, then I can understand some difficulty there, because that's the point of the game, is to be good at that, right?
Yeah.
And to learn and be really good at it. If
Dark Souls isn't really about its story, it's about
there's almost zero. We were just saying in the first one, it doesn't tell you anything. Like,
you're
you
supposed
have to pick up all this
if you,
lore crap and read about it.
The story's really cool, but you have to like go and like look for it.
Yes, and read a lot, right?
So
it's
much.
Like,
or just watch YouTube videos.
Yeah, and for me, that's just not appealing. I don't enjoy that part of Dark Souls at all. I don't really care about it.
Yeah.
Like, I'll pick up the little bit of lore here and there as you like meet the people and you have your brief little conversation.
They say weird
or
stuff.
Something. But it's like, I don't care. I really don't care.
The pale blood. I don't know what that is. I want to kill beasts.
Yeah.
I want to kill guys.
I think one that is suffering from not being difficult enough would definitely be the Uncharted series. I think the Uncharted series started out, again, it felt kind of fresh and new. It was this thing that they hadn't really seen.
Indiana Jones
so
the game.
About the story, but it had some pretty good gun mechanics and stuff in it. But then as they went on, they kind of all were the same, and they never really they never really amped up that difficulty.
They have the cool moments though, where it's like I'm falling out of a train onto a bus, onto a windmill, and it's all exploding. It's like that's fun.
Yeah, it's very cinematic.
Yeah,
right? But I could see somebody wanting to play through that game on a lesser difficulty, and it's not going to really impact the game. You want to get the story, and that's so cinematic, right? Even God of War, I could see being that way to a certain degree because that is just a hack and slash game. Like you can
the old one. Are you talking about the old ones or the new one? The new one has sick.
The new one does have.
To be
fair, they all do if you utilize it correctly, but you don't.
I guess there's no incentive. Yeah, that's a good point actually. In the old ones, you can literally just play an easy go square, square, square.
It's a
square,
square,
triangle.
Right? Yeah,
and do the God of War combo.
Yeah. It's just over the top. It looks cool.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, the Devil May Cry. I haven't played the newest one.
God.
But in the beginning, those other ones, it was about that fighting mechanic in the game, right?
Oh, yeah.
I don't really care about the story of Devil May Cry. You wanted to get in and do combos and roll people off people and air launch them and.
I mean, I played with utilizing as much combo mechanics as I could, and I was kind of good at that game. A little bit. I mean, good for me. I'm not as good as the pros. I haven't beaten it a second time on the big boy difficulty, but that I feel like you definitely had to utilize the combos for that game. And it was so rewarding. Oh my god, the game is just stupid good.
Yeah,
stupid. You get a magic hat.
And so what about the esports and stuff? Because that's a whole nother kind of difficulty. Now the difficulty is reliant on the other person that you're actually playing, right? Now it is totally subjective to that person. Some online games are that way too. I'm not a big fan of that. I don't like to play an online game where it's just a big, like an arena type shooter type thing. I'm just not into that. I don't want to hunt down other people. I'd rather have people work with me and hunt down AI or do something like that.
Yeah.
But for some people, I think that is the max difficulty for them, right? Is to find that guy out there that you have that really even match with and then move on from that, right?
Yeah.
That's a whole nother way of looking at difficulty.
Yeah, I guess some people might be saying oh, that's too difficult or whatever, but I think when you say a lot of things are too difficult, you have to be it's too difficult for me, and that's okay. That doesn't make it bad, because saying it's bad just because it's hard for you is just kind of, I don't know.
I think you can rightfully say that for you the game sucks, right? I could see that person be that game sucks, and not caring for it at all. But I would say, to come out right and just say the game is awful because you're bad at it.
Yeah.
I will say, it's so subjective, right?
Some things, I'm gonna rip on Dark Souls 2. I think that game is difficult in a way that is just bad design. I don't like that game.
I think I beat that one. I think I beat 1 and 2.
Dark Souls 2, I don't know. They just add a bunch of enemies, and it doesn't feel like... I have to go on a whole rant about it and think about it, but in my opinion, Dark Souls 2 is almost what I might call too difficult, just because the difficulty doesn't favor the design. I think it detracts from it, and there are some levels that are just designed, they're just stupid. But I'd have to actually talk about it more than just saying I think it's a stupid game, but I don't like Dark Souls 2. Yeah.
I mean, I just think some games are made for some people, and some games aren't. I think, even if you want to talk about the, I think the difficulty of a game shouldn't impact, somebody that's disabled necessarily. I don't think that should be a negative thing on the game. The game's too difficult for somebody that's disabled to play. It's okay, it's clearly not made for them, right? Yeah. It's there's a lot of other things that aren't made for people that have the disability pertaining to that thing, right?
Yeah.
That's just how the world works. I mean, not everything can be totally catered and made just for you. So,
but I mean, there should definitely be certain things. It'd be better if everything was. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think you will get more of that as games continue to get more popular because you're going to have to. And I think it'll be interesting to see how that's addressed. Like if there will be games that will the game cater to that, and then will the game still be appealing to the people that don't have?
I just don't know how games can do it, and like it seems more like a hardware thing.
Yeah.
Right. Like if someone has, I mean, there could be things where it's like, oh, this will be easier if you have like dyslexia or like some sort of like vision thing, or right. But I think a lot of it comes down to like making controllers or things for people.
Yeah. Well, in some games, I feel like I'm making light of people with disabilities and mocking my dad at the same time. But my dad is really bad at video games to the point where it's almost like it's his disability that he's bad at video games, right? But we play Race the Sun, and all you do in Race the Sun is steer left and right or X. But that game is phenomenal. It's so fun. It's totally a Horizon
It's always
racer.
on like your top, like on your list of things that you've been playing.
Oh, my dad will come over and we will play that game for so long, and he just sits there and plays it over and over and over. No, we just take turns. We do totally couch play it old school.
Yeah.
But it's really, really simple. There's only 2 buttons in it, but it's still it's still a quality game, right? So it doesn't. I mean, you can make a game, you can do a game well from the design point of it, right? From the software side of it,
but doing limited or things that would be a lot more accessible.
Yeah, like that game
much
is
more accessible than having
so
to do
many. Oh my! So I get overwhelmed by all the buttons in some games, where especially the ones where you hold a button and now all that just remaps them all.
Yeah.
Like some of them have that where like each shoulder button does that to all.
Devil
the
May
buttons,
Cry
right?
is
like I
gives a lot of buttons.
Yeah, it makes me feel like a disabled gamer sometimes. Yeah. Like it just. I mean, I totally agree that I think that it would be nice to be able to acknowledge everybody, obviously.
Yeah.
Right?
But I don't think it's realistic to say that every game could do that, and I don't think it's fair to pressure games that have complex controls to say that's not fair to certain people.
Yeah, well, to me, it makes the same amount of sense as almost like what they did with the Deadpool 2, where they came out with their crappy PG version. Like, should every movie do that too now? It's like not everything has to appeal to everybody, right? And that's okay.
Like, I'm sure I mean, I might not have been born. I know this is a weird example, but like there are obviously things that are wrong with me, and there are games that I will have a genetic disadvantage or like a biological disadvantage of playing. But I don't think it's fair for me to pressure them, and obviously I'm not in the seat of most people that are suffering like real bad disabilities. But I don't think it's fair to criticize the developers for doing that.
Yeah.
Or for making a game that just isn't for me.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I don't want to crap on people.
I mean, it's very hard to talk about this from sitting on our high horse.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. But I would also think that those people have also, which is terrible. I just said that, but I think that anybody with a disability, maybe it's just suddenly happened, or it's a new thing for them.
Yeah.
But I would think that it's something you have to live with anyway, right? Like you're going to adapt your life around it anyway. So it would make sense that you, as the person with the disability, are going to have to do some of the adapting, right? Like it's not all on them to make it totally cater for you. You also need to meet them halfway, right?
But I think there should definitely I don't think it's really developers' responsibilities. I think it's more of a hardware manufacturer's responsibilities to be hey, we will make a controller for a person that their hand that doesn't have full use of their hands, or doesn't have it's missing a finger or whatever. I think there are controllers like that, and that's really, really cool to see. And I think that's where a lot of the help to disability people disabled people comes from, is from that's hardware, not the software.
Yeah.
The software is the thing that you use, the hardware is the thing that lets you use it. And we have I have both my hands, and I have good control over them. And not everyone has that, and I don't think it's fair to say that that's on the developers of the games. No. I think it's fair. I think it's fair to say that there should be more of a incentive to make custom controllers. And I mean I know this isn't the best example, but I see I've been on Reddit and I've seen a lot of things oh, this is my custom controller, or my son couldn't play this game, and so I made him this thing that helped them play it.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's really cool. I think there are definitely some restrictive ways. If you make your game only motion controls, I think that's definitely a restrictive thing. But at the same time, tell a developer that they can't make a game a certain way, I think is kind of unfair if that's like their vision and that's gonna be the best way to play it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, there are definitely games where it's like VR and motion controls is like, that is how they intend you, like, how they want you to play it, and that game is like better for it. I don't think it's fair to say you can't do VR because like not everyone can do that. Like, people get motion sick. Like, I don't think that's like, really fair.
Yeah, you're not even, there's not really a disability there. You just can't handle the motion.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think that games are going to push more to that. But again, then maybe those games aren't for you.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Like,
yeah.
I also think that in that scenario, for that person, it's probably not a shock. Like, they also have to sit in the front seat of the car or drive whenever they go anywhere. Like there's other things in their life that they've already now adapted to accommodate whatever that issue is.
Yeah, to say, like, every VR game has to have a non-VR mode is just unreasonable.
Yeah.
Because when your game is designed to
it's
be
a VR
played
game.
in virtual reality, when you play out of it, that's not the experience they want you to have.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's fair to say that, like, a developer's, like, what they want you to do, or, like, how they want to design it, and how they want you to play it is, like, something that they should have control over because that's what they're making. If you don't like that, just don't support them. And that doesn't mean that it's going to be good all the time, but I think it's unfair to say you need to change this.
Yeah.
Right?
I think
even if it is for, like, a just cause.
This is kind of a weird random thing, but I remember when I was a kid, my mom used to rent movies from the library, right?
Yeah.
And she'd bring them home. And she brought home Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade one time. And the movie started, and it starts with, like, young Indiana Jones stepping up onto the, like,
boat or whatever.
I think it's, like, in the desert. Right? He, like, steals the treasure
he's
from whatever,
older on the boat, that's
like,
right.
It, like, shows him, it's, like, hat down, and he looks up, and he's older, right? That classic scene. But it shows him kind of silhouette, and he, like, steps up, and, like, the sun comes up or something. But we go to play the movie, and all of a sudden it's, like, a male figure steps into the sunlight as it rises over the horizon. And there's just, like, this person narrating the whole movie over the top of it. And I remember, Mom, something's wrong with the movie. Fix it, right? Like, this is just going to drive me nuts. But it was a movie for visually impaired people.
Yeah.
It's like, what? Like, I mean, I guess, like, that's kind of a cool option for you, but...
Well, it's really cool they can, like people, that can't see can still experience that.
Like, I guess you could experience the story, right?
Yeah.
Like partially visually impaired, I guess, so you can still decipher it. It'd be weird to have, I think even if you were visually impaired, it would be weird to have the movie going with all of its audio, plus this weird monotone voice
it talks very fast.
Yes.
And I think it pauses certain things too. I think that's a different case because that's like, I mean, the medium of film is much like you're not interacting with it, so it's very easy for that to like subtitles and audio, right, are very like different ways. Like with a game that can't. Like, a game is about playing it. It's about, like, doing more than just, like, you have to watch, listen, play. There's all these things that they're asking you to do at the same time. So, like, I think
I think some games it is about that. Well, yeah. You're right. Like, it is about engaging with it and going through it, which I think comes back to that difficulty thing where some of the games where it is just more about the experience of the story and the character and the world and all that.
Yeah.
I think you can get that without the difficulty. Because, again, for me, difficulty is more about the play mechanic of the game than it is all those other elements of it.
Yeah. And if developers were, like, if they had to accommodate to, like, because it's also hard to say, like, what disabilities take precedent over others. And if they have to like, accommodate for, I mean, like, a bunch of, like, specific disabilities at the same time, that means games aren't going to be coming out for, like, a long time. And publishers are just, they're going to be like, no. Like, EA is going to be like, you're not doing that.
Yeah, well, I mean,
and that's not really, like...
I don't think they should have to do that anyway.
Yeah.
Like, I think it also, at some point, I'm a big fan of all those games that stand out as unique games that are just kind of doing something different, right? And when that moment strikes you when you play a game that's like, wow, this is something new, right? Like, this is a new interpretation of something. That's when games start to cross that, like, art line for me.
Yeah.
Where it's not just that cog in the machine getting cranked out it's somebody actually going out and trying to do something new, right?
Yeah.
And it has this art element to it where they have a relationship with the software that was available to them at the time and developed this game to cater to their personal vision is like that makes it art, and I'm cool with it, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a different type of game than a game that's supposed to appeal to everyone anyway.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I kind of want to agree that the guy's whining, right? In your article, it's like
because it also sounds like he says a lot of things. Like disability is one of them, but I don't think it's. I mean, what I'm trying to get at is that disability and accommodating for disability is very hard for developers to do outside of like the basic like subtitles and things like that, or like certain other elements. Like I think it's very hard to like expect a developer to accommodate their entire game to do that, especially when the disabilities get very specific.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times like they're not going to see a lot of like profit margin, and that means that they're going to like they're going to spend more. They're going to spend more money and make less, and from like a business standpoint, that might not be like economically viable for them.
Well, let's be honest; it's all about making money.
Yeah. But I think there's definitely like it's in the responsibility of people to like make controllers or make like headsets or other things to like do that. Like I think there should be more of a push to have like be like, hey, you need to make things like this, at least like available or like customizable so that people can do it.
I would even like.
Yeah, that guy was very whiny in the article.
Yeah, I would even like some like some controllers. I would be okay if the controllers were a little bigger sometimes. Mm-hmm. Like sometimes I feel like you get so weird, like nerdy crunched together. That's why I love my Switch so much, and I play it all weird, right?
Yeah.
Like when you come over, it's like I know that's not the way you like to play it, but I enjoy being able to. It's so much more casual, and I can just stretch my arms out, and I don't feel like I'm like this all the time. My little arms, I don't feel like T-Rex playing all the time, right? So I would almost be okay with a little bit bigger controllers and just for pure convenience.
Yeah.
But again, how many people are going to buy that? Right, like
I think
people to
I think a lot of people want a lot of different things, and I think there should be more of a dialogue about like making controllers that are customizable, because like a lot of controllers have like features and things. Honestly, in the ideal world for me, it would be like you go to like a specific website to buy a controller and you like customize it, and they basically have a factory that prints like these specific parts, and depending on how like
I know you can get like crazy customizable controllers.
Yeah, like you can get the Xbox controllers with like the 15 pads in the back.
Yeah.
Right? And that's cool, but it also makes it like if you can't use these fingers, that you don't have to be like this, right? So you can have like fingers back here and still use the thumbs and everything without like having to have it like this. Like I think that's a really, really cool thing to do.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that controllers should be in their nature more customizable, because having a one-fits-all thing, like I think this is very convenient, but I mean there might be someone that has like trouble using this, and to say that this is the only option is unfair.
Do you think that some of these things will also change as our generation gets older? Like just because
I think
we'll
things
be older,
that make it like,
and like we already are like a locked in like fan base for these companies, but let's say when I'm like 65 or 70 or whatever, let's say it's just harder for me to play games as my hands get older and whatever. Like, do you think that
like there should be a combination with that?
Have grown, they will adapt to that a little bit more?
I hope so, because I don't think that it's in the responsibility of like the games to be like your 90-year-old mode, right? But I think there's a responsibility for people making the controllers and things to be like, oh, this is like you don't have to press as hard.
Yeah.
Like button tapping, you can like
viable,
you can like hold a button, or like to tap a button, you can just like hold another button and then hit that, and then it's like taps for you if you like literally can't.
Who's to say we'll even use controllers still when I'm like 70?
Yeah,
right? Like
just like
this
game's great. You're like, I'm plugged in. Yeah, I mean, but it's still like, I mean, even that, there might be people that have trouble using that. And I think the hardware is where like a lot of this discussion should go. And saying that a game isn't accessible to disabled people, I think is like not where the issue is. And that's not gonna like.
It might be a totally true statement, but
okay. Yeah. If a game doesn't have like subtitles, then that's just stupid, right?
Yeah.
Or like if a game doesn't have like brightness settings, right? Like robust enough, that's just stupid. But just saying that the design of the game.
Or even what about like color blindness? Because that wasn't something that was always offered in games, and there's a lot of games now that will offer that, right? That's on the software.
I think that should be a system thing, though.
Like just the system should do it.
Yeah,
I think that's game specific. Like now it is.
I think on your system you should have an option that says like you can't see it like scans for hues, or I mean obviously I don't know how color blindness works, but I think the system should be able to look for those like the colors and things that need to like be changed and change them. That would be really cool.
Yeah, it was just a system-wide thing.
Yeah, because then it would make it so that the games don't have to do it. And I think, systems should accommodate for these things more rather than specific games.
Yeah.
Because systems are meant to be played by everyone, where the games are meant to be played by,
It's more specific.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a valid point.
Yeah. And to say, and honestly, I maybe the guy had good intentions, but the article was just like, I can't. It's like
it pissed you off because you're a big Sekiro fan.
Yeah, and then he's like, the fan base sucks. Get good, stupid. I'm like, you suck.
Like, I'm part of that base.
Yeah. Get good, idiot. I'm not even that good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't even beat Sword Saint Ishin, dude, with a demon of hatred.
I'm trying to think if there's.
It's a hard game.
Do you own a game that you like? That you enjoy that it's easy?
Ooh, let's think about that. Because, we were talking about this earlier where it's like, I just want to be a badass. In my opinion, I like a game that lets you do that, but is also very hard. That's why I love Doom, because it's like, you feel like, you're like, I am the slayer of demons. I've come for my revenge, right? You're like, yeah, but at the same time, it's like, I like the feeling of dying quick, because it means I have to, like, play a lot smarter, which makes me in turn feel like I am the goddamn slayer of demons. Like, I will murder them all. And it's awesome to feel like that. And like in like a way that makes you like play skillfully rather than just like I walk up to the gun and go, kill them as they're all shooting me and I'm not taking damage. Like I like the idea of being like sick, but also being difficult. But I know there has to be a game where it's like I just want it to be easy and blaster stuff.
I guess, I mean, I am playing the newest Assassin's Creed and Far Cry, and I do think, I mean, like I said earlier, I don't want to play those on super crazy hard.
Yeah.
Like, the point of those is to go through and just be a badass, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe Just Cause is kind of that way, too. Like, those cheesy
the
game is already so over the top. I want to
drag the thing into the thing and blow it up. Yeah.
Like, it's not really part of the play mechanic to get beaten over the head.
God, yeah. I need to think about this, about all the games. I have the PlayStation app on my phone. I can look at all the games I have.
Did you have any other questions about difficulty? Did we go through all of them already?
Kind of. I said, like, are there better ways to do easy or hard difficulties? And we kind of talked about that. Should all games have an easy mode? What games should? I don't think all games should have an easy mode if the developer specifically intends for, like, the difficulty in the design or, like, for you to master the mechanics and they want to build a community around that. I think that's fair to say.
I don't think a developer should be forced to implement anything in their game. I don't think they should. I mean, you have games that are... I mean, there's games that come out that are clearly, blatantly offensive to so many people, right? Like you are immediately going to... Like, Grand Theft Auto's that way, or what's the...
but that's
like
kind of the charm of it,
was just horrible. Like, you did such terrible things in that game,
Postal
right?
2?
Yeah, it's like these games, God. They're... Like, not only are they... regardless of difficulty, but now they're just basically been made to offend.
Yeah.
Like, they're appealing to some people, but they're also just offending a massive amount of people, too. So, and that's fine. I think that's fine. I think there could be a game out there that I absolutely hate, and because it's not for me, and it's totally fine. Whether it's related to difficulty or just story or whatever, it's fine. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's like the... like the Pokemon stuff and the whatever, because people are so into all that stuff. I don't care. I don't care at all. I'm zero interested in it. I don't want to play it. I'm not going to play it. But I think it's great that other people are stoked for it, that you got your nerdy thing to be in this cool game. Yeah. That's awesome. But I don't care about it.
Okay. We have to see. Does it show my games? It shows my platinums. 22 of them, by the way.
Wow.
I might platinum rage.
We'll see. I got a platinum again the other day.
Really? Oh, for what?
Maybe I already said Spider-Man. Did I already say I got Spider-Man?
Nice.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten the DLC yet. I don't want to spend $25.
The only one I needed was going to visit Uncle Ben's grave.
Yeah, that was the last one I did too.
And I didn't try to get any, like, if they just happened as I played it.
Yeah.
Right?
Batman, Grand Theft Auto, Destiny, Prey. I love to Prey. I talk about Prey all the time. I do talk about Prey all the time. Puzzle games, the whole point of puzzle games is that Big Ten Rainfall. I mean, maybe...
I guess that's one I wish Picross was harder. It gets to the point where...
Yeah, I have the game on my phone. It's like, it's too easy now.
Yeah.
Like, I want, like, big ones.
Yeah.
Unreasonably large ones, yeah.
Some puzzle games are that way. When I think of difficult games, at least I used to, think of, like, Atlas. I just used to think Atlas made difficult games. They made the first Dark Souls. the Demon Souls. That's an that's an Atlas game.
That's not. I thought it was from though. It was from an Atlas.
Atlas was involved with it. Right?
Yeah. Okay.
I usually associate them with. Not that all their games are hard, but it used to kind of be the standard thing to associate them with, making a game that wasn't necessarily catered to just skate through it. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it is hard to say that I like. I think it's fair to say that it's kind of weird that for me to judge the situation, because it seems like almost every game I'm looking through is a game I like because of like its difficulty, and I like conquering certain things about it. I guess the Shadow of War games, I kind of like. Well, for the most part, I don't like.
But those are kind of a cheese game.
No, I do kind of like how hard. I do like conquering a guy and then like putting him in my army.
But even that, there are times where I try to get so awesome in it that you can just crew. That reminds me of like a Far Cry game. It's kind of that same sort of mentality. Yeah. It's great, and I love the rivalry system. Again, that's what makes that game stand out for me. It's not the. I didn't come away from that game thinking this is really difficult, and I like that about it.
Yeah, it's the specific mechanic. But I think the mechanic thrives on its difficulty because the whole point is that you're killing and getting killed by these orcs. Yeah, no, I take it back. Yeah, I like how difficult that game can be. But how there's just one guy who followed me from one map to the other.
It's more than that it's just difficult, it's that it's personal.
Yeah.
Right? It's personally difficult, and this guy has a vendetta against you, and now that's this personal waged war you have with him. That's how I played that game. I built up this whole scenario in my head. Like, they already do it a little bit in the game, but I was hating that guy as much as he was hating me.
The guy that was like, this one guy just kept coming back. I'm like, why won't you die?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm back. I'm like, and then he kills me one hit. I'm like, what? Actually, Borderlands, kind of. I like the idea of always being like just a little bit above, and just being a little overpowered in that game.
Yeah.
Borderlands, I can say that's a game that I like being overpowered in, and that I like blowing stuff up, and I like having those guns just. But I don't obviously want to be like one hit. Like that's kind of boring. But I don't want it to be like specifically challenging, because I think at least for me, the mechanics of Borderlands don't seem that deep. But that's usually because they don't get too deep into like getting like, oh, I have to get this legendary, I have to do this and this and this. Yeah. I just want to play it and just be a badass.
I would almost say like even Red Dead, right? Like the newest Red Dead, the single player. I don't know that I would say that game's very difficult, but the appealing quality of it isn't that anyway. Like it's more the world and how submersed in it you are, and how much you interact with everybody and all that sort of stuff. But then the online element of it would totally cater that person that's into the difficulty side of it. Again, because you're playing against other people online, but it emphasizes that so much more. And it's weird because I like that in games, but I don't like it in Red Dead Online. I don't really care for Red Dead Online. I'm really sick of it.
Really?
Yeah, it's just... I think it's awesome that it's offered, but I think it takes away from the whole experience for me, anyway.
Yeah.
Like
the guy's constantly killing you.
Little bit of the joy that I got from that single player. I need to just go back and play single player. Is what I need to do.
I think prototype benefits. I don't like dying at prototype. I like killing everything in that game.
Yeah, it's a guilty pleasure kind of
one. That's a good one. I think sandbox games are games where it's like I don't want to die a bunch.
Yeah.
Right. Or I don't want it to be like too hard. Like I just want to blow stuff up and kill stuff.
Yeah, you want to feel awesome.
Yeah. I think there's games that definitely like one. I think there's ways to do it easy or to make it like satisfying by doing it easy, because there's like so many like things that are reacting to just like every move you make. Like in Prototype, you just turn it like when the entire city block is just filled with dead bodies, you feel like nice. Like I feel great. It's like I killed 1,000 people. I feel awesome, right? But I think at the same time, I do enjoy it more, and I find more longevity and like lasting experience in a game that makes me like that. I do that, but I have to do it by like playing more skillfully rather than just being like X, R1. Yeah.
I would say games that are based on like an existing thing already, like a anime game or a game that's based on a movie, right? Like games that are already based on this thing that exists. I would say a lot of times their biggest flaw is they suffer from the mechanics of the game. right? Like they're trying to do so much to cater to the fan and make it like that thing.
It's exactly like Dragon Ball Z. It's the whole you've seen it 1,000 times. You want to see it again?
It's all
play
the same cutscenes.
What?
But the mechanics of the game are garbage, right? Like that element isn't there.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times when they're doing a game like that can happen to it.
That's why I'm
always games that are based on movies. Like I don't know if that necessarily is still totally
I think that's true.
But that's pretty standardly true, right? Like especially when it retells the story of the movie. It's different when it can do like a side story or something, where it just kind of exists in the world. But when it's just blatantly the game from the movie that's supposed to follow the same story of the movie, like there is not good game mechanics in those games.
Yeah,
there just isn't.
Unless it's Spider-Man 2. That's an exception. But no, I know exactly what you mean. There's a Berserk game that I kind of want to get. But the whole point of Berserk is that like the main character is always called like the struggler, right? Like the whole point is that it's like a ruthless, horrible world, and it's extremely unfair towards the main character. I mean, almost in specific, but like a lot of other people. And the game is like a Dynasty Warriors clone. So you kill like 1,000 guys in one hit. And it's like, yeah, okay, Guts can do that, but he also gets like the crap kicked out of him all the time by demons.
Yeah.
Or he's like constantly like all wounded, and he's like Berserk's dope. Berserk's sick. I bought all of them. I have every single volume that is out.
Would you say, in general, as a whole, I want to keep trying to come up with a way to generalize it, but it is just so subjective, right?
It is, yeah.
But in your personal opinion, do you think games have gotten easier as just as a collective?
I think so. I think to cater to people that want to like, I think there has been like a sort of like unseen or like subconscious thing to make it easier for like reviewers especially. But I think
I'm curious about that.
Like a lot of games feel samey. They don't really feel like they want to like easier is kind of subjective, but like more checkpoints, less punishment for death, not a focus on creating interesting AI. Like the first-person shooters of like the early 2000s, I think were like very like this like fear. The whole point of fear is that the AI like are constantly adapting to you.
Yeah,
like
the
original
Metal Gear Solid was that way too. The newest one, isn't it that way? Like you can't just take over a base the same way every time. Like,
but I think
the guys will learn and change spots, and like it'll adapt.
But I think especially recently, there's been more of a thing of like, no, let's not make games easier. Let's not just make them easier. Let's make it so that you actually have to learn the mechanics and get good at the like mechanics of the game, rather than just being like, oh, kill the guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would, like, I would say there's more games that come out with kind of an easier mentality as out of all the games that come out in a year, more of them are probably fall into that group. But I do think you still get those that don't, right?
Yeah.
That is
Sekiro,
the point of it.
Every Souls game.
And again, I think it's the play mechanics. It's the way it controls and getting the combos down, or whatever that is for that game. I think when people say it's difficult, that's clearly what they mean.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I think you get a variety of both. I think you get more now because the fan base is just bigger. The variety of people playing games now is bigger.
And you can have you can be part of a very specific demographic, but also part of a very general demographic.
Yeah.
Like I will play games that are I play Dark Souls, but then I also play games that are really popular,
And sometimes I'm totally guilty of buying the game.
I don't actually know if I play popular games, actually. I'm thinking about it right now. Okay, I mean, I feel like DMC5 is a very specific one, but... Yeah, I don't know, actually. I don't buy a lot of, mainstream games.
I think this year especially has been a tough year for the, big AAA, big, huge games. There just hasn't been that many.
Yeah, like Days Gone was just Rage 2 got bombed. Rage 2 is way better than the scores. It's not perfect. It definitely has some slog to it, I think. I've been taking a break recently. But that game is, the game's just sick.
Yeah.
You do crazy stuff.
I would definitely like to play it.
Yeah, I need to bring it over so you can just, mess around and blow stuff up.
Because you're a digital kid.
Yeah, I know. I don't want to go to GameStop. I don't want to go to the GameStop that I worked at specifically. The only other one I go to is in the Alderwood Mall, but it's not Alderwood Mall, the Everett Mall. It's so far away. I just want to play it now. Even though it takes 100 years to download.
Oh, that's crappy.
Yeah.
I downloaded...
Don't even say it.
You want to know how many?
Fine.
I want to say it was 37 gigs the other day. I want to say it was 40 minutes.
Are you? Oh my god.
It was awesome. It was pretty sweet.
I wish.
I should be the digital kid.
Yeah.
Right? Like, come on.
You're going to do a body swapping movie, and I'm going to be like, this is great. You're going to be like, this sucks.
Do you think that so we have a broader spectrum of people playing games now. So they need to appeal to them, right? Totally. But do you think as that broader range of people plays games and gets more used to them and using a controller and whatever, we won't have to cater to that as much? Or do you think those people are constantly coming and going all the time anyway, that it's just like this even thing?
I think as the controllers get more, like, as there's more of an incentive for, like, controllers to be, like, less specific or either broader or I guess we get more specific to certain demographics. I think it'll, like, the discussion won't really be the same anymore.
Like, at some point, will we break the mold of... Because I feel like we're still... Totally the software and the hardware of the system itself, but, like, controllers have kind of... I mean, I guess Nintendo has broken the mold several times.
Nintendo has a lot... I don't like a lot of their controllers, but at least they have a lot on their systems.
Yeah.
Like, the varieties, it's good.
It's like... And again, that's, like, not necessarily a good thing all the time,
yeah.
right? Like, it's so unfamiliar when you get the next one, or it could be...
And so many of their controllers are small. Like, people with big hands, I feel like, are, like...
Yeah.
Like, it's like, well, that's not fair to them. Like, I have a friend with massive hands. I don't know how he holds those Joy-Cons. Because they're, like, the size of his pinky.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'll be curious to see how all that starts to change, because I do think that more and more people are playing video games.
Yeah.
And I think that we will retain more of those people than losing those, right? Like, I do think some of them are jumping on the bandwagon and then they're going to fall off. Right?
Yeah.
They're going to be that guy that that has like a PlayStation 3 still with his 3 games that he only ever played.
Yeah.
Right? And it collects dust. He never touches it, right? That was the guy that fell off but jumped on when it started to get cool.
Yeah.
And I think we're still going to have those people along the way, but I would want to assume that most of that group is probably going to stay and like keep progressing with games.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see how much the gaming industry will also grow with those people.
I hope a lot. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Be very convenient.
And it's
for
just
everyone.
Kind of have to. Like, they're going to have to keep making those games that I think are more difficult.
Yeah, to keep people playing. Yeah.
That are more like us, that have way more years of experience on people, but they also have to make it, appealing and just an option for these other people that just don't have the experience that we have.
Yeah.
So it's a tough one to
I
say.
think there's always going to be games for pretty much everyone.
Yeah.
Like all over the board.
And some of those games are super appealing to people that are I even think of some of them that are just hard but still fun and simple, or like Hotline Miami. I love that game, but it's really simple. There's not a lot really going on.
Yeah,
but
it's so hard.
It's really difficult,
bonkers.
And you feel awesome when you beat it. Right?
Yeah,
it's like that's kind of a good.
There's very few controls. Resogun, very few controls.
Yeah,
so many games.
It's such a weird.
Thumper,
I was even mentioning that the other day, where it's like there are so many games that come out now that even though they're not the like top tier, most best game of the year type game, we've come so far with the technology of games that there's games that come out that are just total garbage. But a lot of times, if the game is pretty and has a few mechanics in it that work, it's still kind of fun, right?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to be this groundbreaking game anymore because there's so much stuff behind it that's pushing it to just like bombard your other senses, right?
Yeah.
So it's really interesting how it's all kind of working out. I'm really curious with this next generation, like how many of all those things, with every generation that we go with our systems, how much are they going to adapt to that previous generation that has like jumped on?
Yeah,
right?
or been like, hey, add this. Yeah.
I do think difficulty is something to consider in there. I don't think it's a bad thing if a game is too hard for you personally. That game is clearly not for you then, and that's okay. I think vice versa. I think it's not necessarily a bad thing if you find a game too easy. Maybe that game's not for you, right? And I think having difficulty options in a game is totally fine too.
Yeah.
Within the same game. It's such a personal thing to say that a game is difficult.
Yeah.
Like you can't use that
very
as a
hard to
statement,
objectively.
right?
Yeah. There's
personally, I think I'm on the side of I enjoy a game that tests me a little bit. Yeah. But I have a lot of experience, so...
And there are games where it's like, I just want to blow stuff up and just have mindless fun. Or maybe it's a game where it's like, I don't care about the combat. Like, I think Witcher, if I play it, I might just do it, like, on the basic story mission, because I didn't have much fun with the combat, if I'm going to be honest. I thought it was kind of janky. At least for me, like, I wasn't super into it, so if I play The Witcher, I might just have to play it on that. I really hope in those difficulties, though, that Gwent is the same, because I dug Gwent. I got into that.
That's funny because that's not what I got.
They made a Gwent spin-off game.
Yeah,
which is sick.
Yeah.
Gwent was fun, but I also like Gwent when you're like really overpowered and you just kill the other guy. And you're like, I don't know why they made that card game so good. The card game is dope, but I guess by the end of The Witcher 3, you can literally just gather all the legendary cards and no, you're not gonna lose. You're gonna win.
I only played Gwent when I had to.
Oh, I played it all the time. Yeah. Anytime ago,
because I actually kind of enjoyed the combat. Gwent. I enjoyed switching swords and like using my spells and like having the appropriate ones assigned to my buttons and like I enjoyed. It
feels a little too old school for me.
Yeah, well,
I think older. I think that might be a game where it's like I want to play in the story mode, but I think that game should have multiple difficulties because its story is like very, very, very important to it, right? It's like the core design of it, and to like lock the story off. I wouldn't say it's unfair, but it would just kind of be like, that sucks. Would you? At least for me.
What would you think of a game that like has maybe different story paths? That's just one is ridiculously hard. You don't have to ever do that to beat the game, but it's like that is there.
As long as it adds something like substantial to it,
yeah,
and like comments on why it's harder or like comments on the difficulty, I think that'd be interesting. Like a game that would get like progressively more dark and depressing the more difficult you make it. Like, if they made an easy mode for Dark Souls, I would kind of like a more sunshiny, happy game. And the harder you get, it's like, as you're mastering the mechanics.
Do you ever get to part in games where you're just like, I'm not even going to do that, I'll just deal with that later?
All the time.
Yeah. Is that because you think you'll get better at playing, or because your guy will get beefed up that will then make that easier?
Sometimes I'm like, I'm lazy. Like, I think a lot of the times, and like, especially when playing Dark Souls, and this is just like a general life thing for me, it's like, if you have a single shred of doubt, you're not going to be able to do it. Once you tell yourself, I'm going to beat Orange Need to Smoke, like, I can do it. And then you do, you're like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
Or you're like, what? Right? Sorry, Holly. But I think, I have that a lot. But for me, all it is you just can't doubt yourself. You just have to go for it.
Yeah.
And then you'll win.
Yeah.
That's my motivational speech.
We got real deep.
Don't doubt yourself, and you'll win every time. Every time. No matter what.
I don't know. That's kind of what I got to say on difficulty.
That's what I got to say. I feel like we had a good discussion.
I'd be curious to know if anybody out there, what is the most difficult game that you've played? Ew. Maybe I would like to know, like, what is the most difficult game that you've played that you like? But then, like, what's that game that you're just like, nope,
you don't like
not worth difficulty? It. It's just so difficult. I don't even.
Splatterhouse. I don't know why I beat that game. I committed to beating Splatterhouse, and I hated every second of it.
Yeah,
I was a dumb kid.
Never played it.
It was dumb. That's all I can say.
Well, it's stupid because it's
not
hard.
Not the old one, but the new one. I thought the new one was just bad. Yeah, maybe I didn't get good. I didn't say that right.
I've been telling you that for years now.
I'm tired.
Since I knew you.
Oh.
Well, I'd love to hear any games that anybody else that just beat you over the head and you hate them. Yeah. Or maybe it beats you over the head and you finally beat it and it's just the best rush in the world. Maybe there's one that's super easy and you hate it because of that. But I'd be curious to know. So let us know. You can find us Twitter, Facebook, on the YouTubes. All that stuff is all Nerdbuzzed. So go check it out. Tell your friends. Subscribe, like, share. My beer actually was pretty good. I'd tempted to maybe have another one.
We'll you feeling?
I actually feel hair of the dog, right?
Oh,
you know what they say?
Yeah. Just keep going. See what happens tomorrow. It's a Monday.
Right?
Yeah.
To all the nerds.
To all the fuzz.
Bottoms up.
Let's get Nerdbuzzed.
Talking about beer.
I did it right this time.
Talking about nerd culture.
Water. Thanks for me, steer water.
Marcus and Jeremiah. You're on Nerdbuzzed.
Bye, nerds. Oh, it's not over yet? Well, now I feel like an idiot. Got to stall for
I'm
time.
surprised you noticed.
Nerdbuzzed.
God. Yeah, see you guys.